Hey Ranger Nation, welcome back to another video, and I kind of really wanted to do a part 2 to the animated video that I released previously, but what ideas I would like to see. Now I've not really thought way too much into it, but I kind of brought up some stuff that I would like to see. So let's begin with the first up. If you like this sort of content and you want to see more, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, as well as that cheeky notification bell to be notified when more videos drop. Helps the channel grow a lot. So let's talk about it. So first of all, I brought up in the previous one, what would we do? Would we have an animation style of anime, or like for me, I'd like either anime or DC sort of style. I really like them because they look more realistic, more anime, because I feel like you could bring stuff like SSS Gridman, as well as this one, which I just haven't watched yet, but you can have this sort of style of animation. You could have tons of it. There is tons of other things you could have. Dragon Ball Z sort of style, or you could have My Hero Academia, or you can have whatever. If you would like your own anime style, let me know in the comments what anime you would like it kind of based off. Again, if you went DC route, then obviously you've got, like, say, the original Justice League, or and Batman and Superman. Or you could go for stuff like, say, the style of Teen Titans versus the Justice League. It's a good thing. Okay, so those are things. I also brought up that you could have voices, you could have big stars, original Rangers coming back, something completely different. Again, all of those could come into play, which would open up a lot more things. Now, what would I like to see? So these are like the topics that I would love to kind of pop up. Other Ranger teams. So literally, we've seen it in the Boom comics, but I would really love it going into depth, like maybe the first ever team, Go Ranger, or you could have Bioman, Jetman, stuff like that, and as well as maybe, you could use other properties, Lupin Ranger versus Pada Ranger, you could have Kirishima, Torcuja, you can have these sorts of things, and follow them. If we can't have the Sentai adaptation, why not an anime or animation adaptation of the series, and you could just have the same thing? I think it would be kind of cool, and especially if you did it in the form of like Gridman, like SSSS Gridman. I think that would be kind of cool. The next one obviously would be Shattered Grid, which if they didn't do it, it would be stupid and silly, but again, I would like that maybe much later on rather than just straight off the bat open it, because I feel like no one would want to watch it afterwards. I'd rather they slowly build up to it. And the next one would be a Ranger Civil War. Do it like Power Rangers Hexagon. Do it something like that. I think it would be absolutely amazing to kind of see after such a long time, or change it up and do it a little bit different how you would do it. We've seen new Ranger teams. So effectively, when Boom Comics did their sort of things, you have the Solar Rangers as well as the Omega Rangers. Maybe have something like that. You could have those Rangers come back, or new teams where you could fall in love and literally watch a whole new episode or series of these Rangers, and they would be cool. I think that would kind of work well. Power Rangers versus Super Sentai. We've all wanted to know, we've always seen it, who would win in a fight? Jason Scott versus Genki. Who would win? No one knows. Tommy versus Barai. You could have all the Power Ranger universe go against the Super Sentai universe. Or even Kamen Riders. How cool would that be? It would be like literally Power Rangers versus Masked Rider, where Dex has had enough of the Power Rangers and he wants to stop everything so that everything can be more of his sort of way, his jurisdiction. So therefore he brings in the Masked Rider Warriors, and you have all these. It did happen. It was in Masked Rider. I didn't realize. Oh my god, it's not bad. But still, you could have Kamen Rider versus Power Rangers, or Power Rangers versus Super Sentai. How cool would that be? I know a lot of people, and if you agree, put it in the comments, that you'd love to see Marvelous slap around Troy. Just literally, you would watch it. Don't get me wrong, you'd hate it all the way leading up, but seeing Marvelous take out Troy, you would watch it. 100% watch it. It would be the best thing. You know it would. Leave a like if you would like that, and leave a comment too. I think it would be cool. So yeah, The next one would be What Ifs. Marvel is doing the What If series that they're doing right now with their animation. They're leading up to it. So can you imagine, like, what if Dex was the leader of Power Rangers where Tommy wasn't? What happens if the Green Ranger never returned? Did a video on that. But what happens if Tommy never returned to Angel Grove? What happens if you had other characters take the roles or mantles? Or a spin? Again, you could lead into the what if and have the greatest what if Tommy turned evil and stayed evil, and thus therefore led into Shattered Grid and said, coming next year, Shattered Grid, and everyone would go absolutely batshit mental for it. Don't say you wouldn't do it, Joseph. Don't say you wouldn't do it, because I know you'd like it. RPM. What happened to previous Ranger teams? You know, we've seen the clip where, you know, RPM is in its own universe, it's separate. That there was a team before RPM, the failed attempts. What about if you did that? Or you did more adventures of RPM? How cool would that be? Dear God, I would love to watch that. 10 years later, what's happened to Jason, Trini, and Zach? Who knows? What happened to Super Megaforce? What happened to Jungle Fury? You could have the 10 years later and have them come back and do things. That would be cool. How cool would that be? You could have so many different things. You could literally go 10 years later and do every single team in order and just be like, this is what happened. 10 years Zeo Power, 10 years Turbo. It'd be so cool. You know it would be cool. Bad guy version. Why not do a spin? So rather than having it the good guys, what happens if we follow the bad guys and then see what they do? We see it in Super Sentai and Power Rangers quite a bit, but what happens if it was all from their side, and they continue to win? I would kind of like that. That was just a really random one. Power Rangers versus whoever. Now, we've already had the crossover with DC, Ninja Turtles. What could stop them if Hasbro, I was going to say Saban, what happens if Hasbro reached out to Marvel and said, hey, we've got your license for your toys. Mind if we do a TV series of the Power Rangers versus Marvel? And then it's like, you know, the greatest threat that they team up. They could do it. They did it with DC, so why not with Marvel? I think that would work absolutely well. I would tune in for that. Even if they did DC and did the exact same story from Boom Comics, I again would tune in to see an animated version, and I would review the crap out of it. I would love it. You can have other things as well. You know, again, as I said, versus Masked Rider, versus Kamen Rider, versus Super Sentai, versus whatever, Ultraman. You can throw so much stuff. Mystic Knights of Tianagno, the descendants that have had the powers versus the Power Rangers. I'm literally, Hasbro, if you're watching this, I'm giving you all these ideas. Let me come on board. Let me help you bring out the stuff. In the previous video, I mentioned Zordon's Secret Rangers, where it could have been whatever. You could have had Die Ranger. When Gosei says Rangers, you've used the powers that have never been seen on Earth. What happens if Zordon turned around and said, these are the stories of my secret rangers that were off out in the universe doing things, that helping people, doing stuff like that. Get David Fielding, as I said previously, get him back into voice Zordon. You have endless possibilities. You could make 24 episodes, or you could make a couple of seasons just doing this. How cool would that be? Seriously, how cool would that be? I would be all for that one. Just think of it now. I think it'd be cool. Like, if you are watching this, if you're watching this, then you are finding my secret recordings of the Power Rangers. I formed the Mighty Morphing Power Rangers, but this was a story of how my other Rangers saved the universe. The Mighty Morphing Power Rangers might save Earth, but the other Rangers saved the universe. Dun dun dun! Boom. Perfect. You could have Omega Rangers. Nice segue, Mark. You could have the Omega Rangers and have more stories with them, because again, as I said previously, a load of people are really into the Omega Rangers. I'm not 100% on board for it. It's cool to see, but you could have that. How cool would it be to see more? I keep saying how cool. Would you love to see an entire dedicated story arc to the Omega Rangers? What about the Solar Rangers as well? You know, I know a lot of people like that. Wasn't my cup of tea on that one, but you could do the exact same storyline and everyone would love it. People would be on board for it, I think, and you could have tons more stuff on it. Also, one thing is you could bring up stuff that you know that we may not see on screen at all through the Power Rangers, but you can through animation. So you could see more and more things happening all the way through time. And that to me is something that I think would be, it would just be great. Like deep down, I think it would be one of the biggest things that you could show, and it could show that the series is going more diverse, and you could just have a ton more stuff. Like all these things are just things I thought of off the top of my head, and I would love to see as an animated series. I think that I would pay more attention to that. You know, if they did it in the anime style, I would absolutely wholeheartedly love it. And I know it would take a couple of years to do all these stories, but if you got started now, got it all on board, it'd be perfect. That's what I kind of think on this. So yeah, these are some of the stories that came up, like were on the top of my head. If you had your versions and you could write your stories, or you can have your like versions of it, let me know what it is down in the comments. And I'm going to end it there. But what did you think about my ideas? Do you think that they were good? If they happened, would you get excited to watch this, or would you kind of leave it? Let me know down below in the comments. And if you like this sort of content and you want to see more, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, as well as that cheeky notification bell to be notified when more videos drop. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.
チャンネルをサポートしてくれてありがとうございます。チャンネル登録、高評価お願いします。